So we're continuing in Psalm Tet Zion in Tehillim 16, and a very, very quick recap. I know I gave out sheets for Psalm 6, which is Tachanan for Ashkenazim, and we're going to get to that, but I'm not sure we're going to get to it today. But I figured just to be on the safe side, because we only have 3 psukim left. But so our poem 16, as you can see on the sheet, has 3 parts to it. The first part is basically talking about the past, and how David HaMelech, felt so good about his relationship with Hashem, and how it came as a result of following role models. That's Pasuk Gimel, and that's a very important idea. We in Yahadut basically don't believe that you can do it on your own. Nobody can do it on their own, and we believe in role models. The Rav Soloveitchik always talked about the most important pasuk in Ashrei is Dor L'Dor Yeshabach Masecha. We only know how to daven because I saw the previous Dor daven. If I hadn't seen Rabbi Soloveitchik daven, I wouldn't know how to daven. Okay, so that's the beginning. The middle is talking about how he's doing well now. Number one, because of a rejection of Avodah Zarah, a rejection of the alien influences. Okay, and then in Hey and Vav, he talks about how wonderful his portion is, and it's like David HaMelech went to the thesaurus to get all these Hebrew words for portion. Menah, Chelki, Kosi, Gorali, Chavalim, Nachala. It's like he just, because his portion in many ways is excellent. And then at the end of the middle section is the most famous, probably the most important pasuk in the Psalm, but definitely the most famous, and it's one of the reasons we're doing the Psalm, is pasuk Chet, which especially if you go, we were talking about Edot Mizrach a few minutes ago. So especially if you go to Edot Mizrach, Beit Knesset, you always see a Shiviti. And this pasuk is extremely, extremely powerful. That's what we ended with last week. So I'm going to review this pasuk, and then we'll finish the poem. It's not even easy to translate. We talk about a shiviti, and it's become an art term. If you have some free time, you can go. You can Google images for shiviti, and there's some beautiful, beautiful ones. But the problem is, what exactly does it mean? The translation in front of me says, "I have set Hashem before me." Okay, most people, I think, translate it the way the Ramah does. Reb Moshe Isserles, in the first comment in the Shulchan Aruch, his first comment in the Shulchan Aruch is Shiviti means I hold Hashem before me. So it's the idea of Shiviti means to hold on. Last week I gave this analogy from a movie with Russell Crowe before I realized what a terrible person he is. Okay, it was called Master and Commander, and the sailor that was, on the helm, on the steering wheel of the ship, the massive, had tattooed on his fingers, and you could see it when he was holding on, HOLDFAST, hold fast. And that's really the translation of this of the Ramah. Hold fast. You just have to hold on tight. Otherwise, that's we didn't say, when I was growing up, we didn't say hold fast. My mother would say, you're on the bus or something, hold on tight, whatever it is. But that hold fast that image is very, very powerful. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid, I hold fast to a Kadosh Baruch Hu before me at all times. And that prevents me from messing up. And that's the translation of the Ramah. And it's very powerful. It's based on the Rambam in Moreh Nevuchim. Says a similar idea that the Ramah is paraphrasing. However, Hirsch translates it very differently. Hirsch says that the word shiviti comes from the root shaveh, which means equal, okay? And that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, also means, we use in Hebrew, shaveh, that's valuable, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always there on every level. To reach HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't have to go up to heaven. Since HaKadosh Baruch Hu is on every level, then I have HaKadosh Baruch Hu around me all the time. And that's what I have to remember. And this is a famous Musar idea as well, that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching me, then I'm going to be beseder. If I don't believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu is watching, then Chalila, many people will think I can get away with it. There was an interesting study that was done in an office in England. It was done in the University of London. And what happened was they put up back here. Hopefully they had milk though, as opposed to us this morning. But they set up coffee stand and they said whatever it was, 20p, whatever, and they said it's an honor system. And what happened was less than 50%. They look at the money later, less than 50% paid. And that was a little disappointing, but but they didn't care because they were psychologists doing a study. They put up a mirror. And 80% paid. It's so fascinating that when you believe, when you know you're being watched. Now, this study was done in the 70s. Today, you'd put up a CCTV and you get 100%, right? Okay, like the tolls in America, right? But it's just fascinating. It's as long as you're being watched, as long as you know that you're being watched, even if you're the one watching yourself. It's just a fascinating phenomenon. It worked almost as well as the mirror when they just put up a picture, a little bit less, a picture of two eyes. They just put a photograph of eyes, and that worked to get much higher payment. So this idea of Hirsch is true. It's psychologically been, I don't want to say proven, but studies support this position of Hirsch, which is a very, very beautiful idea. The Sfat Emet, writing a little bit later than Hirsch, not much, but a little bit later than Hirsch, the Sfat Emet said, Shiviti, I agree. It's from the word shaveh, equal, but it's not that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is everywhere. The Shiviti is I am working on myself to always be shaveh, to always be on a level, equanimity, to accept everything that happens, understanding that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the cause of things, and that everything, even though it's difficult right now, that things, if I hold on, things will be fine. That it's extremely important that I be accepting of what happens and deal with it. The alternative is very dark. So it's very important to have this attitude to get through life. Okay, and to a certain extent, the Malbim says similar to the Ramah a little bit, but a little bit different. He says that it's not so much that that I have to keep Hashem's name in front of me. It's that the system of halacha that Hashem gave us, that's what I have to hold fast to. That the system works, and that's very important. And you know what? I mean, again, I'm not a psychologist, but studies have shown, and this was something that as a teacher they used to tell us, kids do better with guidelines and rules. Kids want to be guided, and you're making a mistake when you allow things to be a hefker. And I remember, especially when the youngest I basically taught for many, many years was the fifth grade. Mostly I was teaching my last education was both adults but middle school, seventh and eighth grade. But fifth graders would sometimes actually panic if you didn't give them enough guidelines. The seventh and eighth graders would just act up. They would just misbehave. But the younger kids, if you didn't give them enough guidelines, they would, get all nervous. So this is what the Malbim is saying Shiviti means. Hold fast to the system that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. Have faith in the system. And, and that will help. And then the result of the first half of this pasuk, we barely touched on the second half of the pasuk last week. Ki mimini bal emot, because from my doing the correct thing. Oh, I skipped one shot, which I didn't say last week. That's why it was on my mind. I'll say it in a minute. Mimini. Now I'm a lefty, so I always get upset. What you have to think is that I'm, as a lefty, my left hand is my right. Okay, that's the way the Ramah says it when talking about lulav. Other mitzvah too, but the one he famously says it is by lulav, and he says you hold the lulav itayad ochez the lulav biyamino shalom. So this is my right hand. I'm just, my system's a little bit different, but this is my right hand. So we're not insulting lefties by saying right over here. Just okay. Am I the only lefty? I don't know. Okay. I'm sorry.
I was a teacher, and when I would like the right hand or the left hand, I'm always using the opposite one because I'm facing.
Oh, because you're facing the kids, so it worked out well many times using your left hand. True. Yeah. No, it's true. But the truth is, 100%. But I remember teaching kids, younger kids, how to shake a lulav, how to do the na'anuim. What I had to do was I had to turn around and stand in the middle of the class with them because I just couldn't handle it. That I was looking at them, I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't do it like backwards. But you're right. Generally, with more simple things than na'anuim, and I'd stand in the middle of the class. And I'd say, "Okay, together, guys." Okay, and and then we did fur blood. Yeah, the Ashkenazic minhag is fur blood, front, right, back, left, up, down. So we were fur blood. It's different. The Hasidim and Sfardim have different, but for us, fur blood always worked. Okay. So we have community balemot, that when I am really doing things yamin, which is the side of chesed, if you're more Kabbalistic, or yamin means the proper way. Because Shiviti gave me the stability, and now that I do things the proper way, balemot, I will never fall. Balemot means I'll never even be unsteady. I will always be. And again, this works so well with the nautical analogy. You will be able to keep, the proper stability. You won't feel shaken ever if you just hold fast. Now, if that means hold fast to a HaKadosh Baruch Hu, or hold fast to the system, or whatever it is, but if you hold on tight, then, and you do it yemini, in the proper way, balamot. Now, it's important to say that you do it in the proper way, whether that means with chesed or just like yashar, that either one works. It's very important because we know, I'm going to say now it's very sad, but we know it's true. Some people just work the system. I remember, I'm not going to mention the neighborhood, but I had a friend that lived in a neighborhood in Yerushalayim that's known for being, Baruch Hashem, very, very religious. And I said something to him about the difference between, and I was living in a frat, and I was saying, well, your neighborhood's different. Everybody is really, really, spiritual, religious. He says, no, they're not. I mean, the fact that they look the look, and but it doesn't necessarily mean that. And I hadn't thought about it, but when he said it to me, I guess it is true. So some people, so it's got to be done. You have to be yashar, you have to be yamin, you have to do it right. And if you do it right, then bal emot, you will never lose your stability. You will never be shaken. You'll be able to handle whatever comes your way. We know, a lot of stuff comes away, and it's not easy, and it may take you a couple of minutes. Let's say if it's a storm, to get back to the equilibrium, to get back to the stability, may take a little bit, but you'll get there. Because, and this is what David HaMelech is teaching us, and very few people had lives as tumultuous as his. He says, if you hold fast to the system, or to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, whichever shot you want, under those circumstances, you'll make it. I made it, and you'll be able to make it too. So that is the middle of the poem, an unbelievably important and beautiful pasuk. By the way, on the mystical level, some people understand the Ramah to say holding Hashem. Before I mentioned this quickly last week, means to not just focus on Hashem as a concept, but literally to focus on the name Hashem, which is where the artwork Shiviti Hashem, and a lot of people meditate on the Yud Kei Vav Kei. I mentioned last week I have trouble. I'm not a good meditator. I meditate on just the hay, and so that works for me sometimes when you need to regain the focus. But the idea of having it in your siddur that you can look at or on the wall in front of you is that you can mamash do your best to focus / meditate on Shem Hashem. That a lot of people interpret the Ramah to mean not focusing on HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everywhere, but just Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei, and that works too. The Besht, the Baal Shem Tov on this pasuk said, Shiviti Hashem L'negdi Tamid means not just when you're davening. Rivka, everything okay? Oh, okay. So the best, and this is important, and we don't think about it always. Shiviti Hashem L'negdi Tamid. Tamid means even when I'm doing pragmatia, Gashmias, I have to be holding on to Hashem, and perhaps on a certain level that may be the most. We usually use this pasuk to help us when we're doing a mitzvah, especially tefillah. Let's be honest, keeping your focus all the way through tefillah is not so simple. Okay, so we use this pasuk for. The attention span of most humans is in the modern world is going down. Do you remember? In the late 50s, early 60s, some of the best commercials were done by Bell Telephone. Or IBM had a couple. They were 2-minute commercials. 2-minute commercials that were really, we're talking about new products or new ideas. And I remember some of them. They were wonderful. Today on the Super Bowl, there were almost no spots over 30 seconds. Almost none. And there were a number of 10-second spots that you could spend $1 million and get. I think it was actually more. 30 seconds cost $5.6 million on the Super Bowl. Okay, but no commercial, or rarely do commercials. There were 2. But okay, my son, God bless him, was showing me some of the Super Bowl commercials. Some of them are fascinating. And what they did was, they made the 30-second versions for the broadcast. And then they made minute versions that you could see online for some people that, that could handle a full minute. But that's, so that's what we use Shiviti for. But the Baal Shem Tov said, no. Shiviti Hashem L'negdi isn't just about davening. It's like, when you're in the store, and the customer comes in, and you don't overcharge and you're very careful. And Shiviti Hashem L'negdi is what you do throughout every moment of your life. not just when you're davening, which is a beautiful pshat, even though normally we think of this pasuk during tefillah, and that's become the famous use of this particular pasuk in our tradition. Okay, the last three psukim, please. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought you wanted to make a comment. Oh, okay, I thought you would want to say something. I'm sorry. Okay, the last three psukim of the future. So the parak is broken up. That he begins with the past, then he talks about the present, which is a combination of the two things: rejecting the bad and accepting the good. Right? You get rid of avodah zarah and you hold on to Hashem. But that's very much like his son said, right? Like Shlomo Melech said in Mishlei, that you have to get rid of the bad before you can, right? Before you can accept the good. Okay, so lachain, as a result of my rejection of evil / avodah zarah and my acceptance of HaKadosh Baruch Hu / Torah and our system, lachain, three things: samach libi, v'yagel kvodi, af besari yishkon levetach. So three things have happened. His lave. Now we already had his kidneys, so we got a little anatomy lesson in the poem also. The heart. To the people, then normally today we think of the heart as the seat of emotion. Okay, maybe I should turn off the tape. February 14th is coming up, so in America hearts are all over the place already. But okay. Actually, my wife's daughter is due February 14th. I don't know. Maybe they'll name her Valentina. No, God forbid. No. God forbid. No. I'm sorry? Libi. Ooh, that's nice any day of the year. Yes. And it's our pasuk, right? So Lev, though, in the time of David HaMelech, was the intellect. So Samach Libi is my heart, but it means, we would say my mind. Today we'd say the moach. Okay, but Lev is my intellect is full of joy. Okay. My kavod is full of joy too. Now, there are two different terms for joy. We're going to come to those in just a minute. What is my kavod? What is my honor, my glory? I think glory. Okay, what do I have in front of me? Therefore, my heart rejoices. Oh, he went straight. This translation went straight for the parish. It means my glory, but he translates it soul. Most Meforshim say that the kavod here is either my nefesh or my neshama. My nefesh or neshama. So in other words, so my intellect, my brain, okay, my kavod, which is that part of me which is immortal. Whatever term you want to use for that part of me that's immortal. You want to use nefesh, you want to use neshama, but in English we tend to say soul. Usually nefesh is not the soul. Usually in the modern nomenclature, neshama is the soul, and nefesh we usually use for life force. But David HaMelech was before the Kabbalists of the 16th century, when this nomenclature became more set up, more masudar by Ramosha Cordovera. So for him, nefesh means the immortal part of me, okay? And you know what? Even my flesh, even my physical body will yishkon levetach. Now, what does this mean? And there are basically, that I know of, three ways to deal with this last part. One is that the truly righteous don't deteriorate after death. And the Gemara says that there were 7 people that didn't deteriorate. I mean, it's like basically the ushpizin, okay? Didn't deteriorate after they died. The tzaddikim, the tzidkut is so great that even the flesh doesn't deteriorate after death. And I want you to know the Bali Tosfot paskined because of this, because there is no rekurv, there is no deterioration of the bodies of the tzaddikim, that even a Kohen can go to Kivrei Tzaddikim. And based on this, there are Kohanim, especially Hasidim, that will go to Kivrei Tzaddikim, even though normally they can't be Matama. But they say, but there is no true death there because of this pasuk. Because of this pasuk. That's not pshat. I'm not necessarily pushing that particular agenda. I think the most popular pshat is my betach, my security comes from the fact that these people don't die before their time. That my basar, Yishkon Levetach, has this confidence, this sense of security, that they know, I'm going to be here until it's my time. If there are other people that don't have this connection to Hashem, afraid they're going to die any minute, and they're going to, I'm going to do something wrong that's going to mess me up, and they're going to be all neurotic about it, okay? Even though most Jews are neurotic anyways, but that's okay. But that I think is pshat. However, the position I like, and I like the man of La Mancha pshat. That I think it means, and if I can quote from the Impossible Dream, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. Okay, and I happen to like that pshat, and it's not that. It's basically what the Malbim says, that I feel good about my time here, which is what they meant in that line, from the song, The Impossible Dream. But I just think that's a nice expression of it, that I feel good about my time here. That there is this sense of security. It's fine. It's good, And one of the bad things about being a rabbi, even though I wasn't a synagogue rabbi, one of the bad things about being a rabbi is, you're sometimes there at the end. And it's sometimes it's very unnerving, and sometimes it's really, you have trouble with it for days afterwards. But sometimes it's inspiring. Sometimes you're at the side of someone who is passing away, generally speaking, at a ripe old age, and they talk about, it was a good life. Now it's time. And my mother, Leshem, she was 96, of course, but that makes it easier to say it. And that's really inspiring. And I feel that's what I take away from this pasuk. When you went, it felt right. It felt there was time, and there was no regrets, no Yishkan Levetach. That I really felt, and the person really feels that, I'm doing, I'm feeling good and secure about this situation. Let's go back to Simcha and Gila. And this is something the Malbim pushes very, oh no! Hello? Paul, I'm very sorry. I'm in the middle of a class. I'll call you back right after, okay? I do now. Right. Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. No, I apologize. Normally I turn off my phone, but what I'm doing, this is terrible. I don't know if I knew better how to work my phone, I could handle this. No, I'm using my phone as my hotspot to record because the Wi-Fi here in the center wasn't working. Okay, I'm very sorry. Okay, some things are very embarrassing. Okay, let's go back to Samach and Yagel. So there's two things about Simcha and Gila that that the Malbim says. Number one, Simcha is they're both spiritual often. Okay, they both get translated as joy. Okay, Simcha is something that's more constant. Gila is something that is new. Simcha is also relative. Gila is absolute. And what do I mean by that? The simcha of my intellect is sort of a constant understanding of how things are, and things are relatively good. In other words, I'm looking at situations, I'm comparing them back and forth, and I'm saying, oh, this is good. I should be happy. This is fine. I feel good about this. That's wonderful. Gila, which according to the Malbim doesn't really exist in this world. I know, we say it like at a wedding because that is an absolute joy and that's wonderful. Gila Rina Ditza B'chedva, right? And that is an absolute, but it's generally in the world of the spirit, in the world of the universe, in the world of the infinite, where Gila is always new. There's always this sense of it's perfect and it's just, and you're just recognizing new realities all the time. And it's like, anyone who's concerned, who's concerned about Olam Haba, that it's going to be boring, this line should convince them, no, it's not. It's going to be new and exciting and pleasant and just, bursting with continued revelation. So that's what's going on. Therefore, right now, I intellectually see that my situation is positive. And I know my soul is really joyous about this and will remain joyous. And even my flesh and blood feels good about this commitment that I made back there in the middle of the poem. It goes on. Ki lo ta'azov nafshi l'sha'ol. Because the middle part of this poem and my relationship with Hashem has convinced me that you, Hashem, are never going to let my kivodi, nefesh, or neshama, you're never going to let that go down to Sheol. Big debate what this term Sheol means. I just want to go back 1 second. Notice there are three good things. The Rabbi Nachman said that the joy being described in this poem, and I have to explain this because it fits into when we use this poem, that the joy described there in Pasuk Tet are basically the three Chagim. He talks about this. He talks about this line in a Torah in Likutei Halacha. In Likutei Halacha, talking about Shalosh Regalim, and so the simcha of your intellect is Pesach, and the joy of your soul was at Har Sinai. Remember at Har Sinai, their souls were taken away and were replenished, came back. And then they saw, I really am immortal. And the more physical pleasure is, of course, Sukkot, when we're celebrating the combination of, the rain, but the harvest is the big deal, right? So, okay. Why is that important? When do we recite this poem? In a Shiva house, but when? On days when we don't say Tachanun. In other words, this is the saddish poem that we say on happy days, because according to the Rebbe, according to Rabbi Nachman, because death can't ruin my joy, because Shiviti Hashem allows me to retain my joyous point of view, even in the face of death, which brings us to Pasuk Yud, where we really are. Ki lo tazov nafshi l'sha'ol. My soul is not going anywhere bad. Now, I don't know how to translate Sheol. It's a big argument. Some people say that Sheol means the grave. That apparently is the original meaning of the term. It's most of the historians of the matter think that it was really a Canaanite word, that not Hebrew. We borrowed it from the Canaanites, and it meant a pit or a grave. So apparently, the original meaning meant the grave. My soul's not going into a grave. My soul's going to Shemayim. My soul's going to Olam Haba. So, that's what is going on here. Although, of course, in later Meforshim, as Chazal starts talking, Sheol came to be used to mean Gehenna. So my soul is not going to Gehenna. But I don't think that was the original meaning, but that's either one works though. And that's, again, that's the way we feel, even though I'm in a Shiva house, because today is a joyous day, whether it's Chag, there isn't a Shiva minyan, but there would be, like on days we don't say Tachan, and there is some joy in the world. Nevertheless, I'm at a Shiva house, so I still say this. One of the reasons that you're happy, of course, is this is much shorter than the psalm you say normally. So that, that always makes Jews happy when you say less. Oh, no tachanin. That makes me happy. Okay. And then it goes on. Lo titain chasidcha lirot shachat. You do not give to your righteous ones, the people whose righteousness is based upon you. That's important, because we believe there are chasidei umot olam. But it's not so clear that Chasidei Umot Olam are Hashem's Chasidim. As they may be doing it, they're good people, and we think highly of them. And according to the Rambam, not everybody, but according to the Rambam, they have a chelik in Olam Haba. They go to Olam Haba. Not everybody agrees, but that's a separate argument we're not going to get into now. That's for a philosophy class. But Chasidecha here means Chasidcha means those who are doing it Davka Hashem because of you and Torah and the relationship and Yahadut. Okay, you will not allow them to see Shachat. Now, what is Shachat? So some people say Shachat is again means like the pit. Gehenna, okay? But I don't think it means that. I think it means destruction. Lahashchit is a mushchas, okay? That expression in Yiddish, okay? Means destructive. That your righteous people will never see destruction, will never be destroyed. And of course, that means that there will be some sort of olam haba, for them, of course, and that's important. That they live on. Now, what's different about the second one from the first one? Didn't the first one also say that your soul's not going to die? So what do the Chasidcha get? What's interesting is the Baal Shem Tov talking about this, and we don't know from Baal Shem Tov, we know from the Degel Machne Ephraim, but quoting, it means the Rebbe. And when it says will not be destroyed, it means that they remain with us. There was an interesting book that was written by a not a religious but a Jewish neurosurgeon from the University of Houston about death, and in talking to people about death in his work, he was really a professor, but he also did neurosurgery. Talking about death, he recorded, I think, 50 different opinions about what death is, and he called the book Some. It's an interesting book. You can get it online if you're interested. But one of the definitions of death was you die, you're not dead until the last person mentions your name. So the Hasidcha, like the Rebbe, doesn't die because we continue quoting the Rebbe. And the Rav, Rabbi Soloveitchik, gave an amazing shir. One time it was on Pashat Balotcha, but that's just a detail. But if you want to find it online, the shir is online. And he talked about giving his Gemara shir. And he said, when I'm giving my Gemara shir, I quote Rabbi Akiva. And Rabbi Akiva comes into the room. And I quote Rashi, and Rashi comes into the room. And, Rabbeinu Tam and the Ri and the Rambam. He said, by the end of shir, the room is crowded. And and that's what it means. Chasidcha, the special, the previous pasuk is everybody that follows the formula in the middle of the poem. But that doesn't mean that everybody becomes the great ones. The great ones never have destruction because they remain with us forever. As long as we quote them, they're still here with us. Rabbi Akiva is still with us, which is why the Gemara and the Mishnah always quotes people in the present tense. If we quote them, they're still saying it. There's actually a midrash that when you quote somebody, their lips are moving in their kever. Now, I can't take that personally. I don't take that literally, okay? But it's a beautiful idea. So that's what he said. Lo titein chasidcha lirot shachat. They're never destroyed. They're always with us. Please.
I would go to the Rosh Shiurim in Boston, and I always spoke about the fact that when he spoke Chumash, Avraham Avinu was right there.
Yes.
He had this incredible, all those,
yes,
they were right alive. The people.
A lot of people, especially, people quote the Rav and they read things about the Rav. People miss the fact that the Rav was extremely dramatic. Hearing the Rav, especially the Chumash or Motzei Shabbos in Boston, I went for a number of years, and hearing him on Tisha B'Av, he's very, very dramatic and very, very moving, very, very inspirational. I mean, we think about the greatness of the intellect, which of course was, unbelievable. Okay. However, the drama doesn't always get communicated. And many people that write this stuff down just,
They miss that.
Yeah. I don't know if they missed it when it happened, but they just can't communicate it. But there are some recordings that you can get. The share that on Balotcha that I just mentioned is online. Torah.org has it. I mean, you can search for it, and it's very moving as he talks about all of the Rishon. He talks about the Tanaim and the Amorim, but he's much more vibrant when he talks about the Rishonim. The Rav really felt that he was a Rishon. I mean, he really felt, he identified with the Rambam and with Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. He really did, in terms of their thought processes, Okay, so that's Pasuk Yud, which is just an amazing pasuk. Now I don't have a source for this, but I think when you look at Yud and Yud Aleph, remember how Pasuk Tet, everybody notices this in Pasuk Tet. It's 3 parts. There's the Libi, Kvodi, and Basari, right? I think that Yud is talking about Libi and Kvodi. Should I sing it? Yeah. But I'm not going to sing it. That Pasuk Yud, that the Lo Tazov Nafshi, the Nafshi is like, it lines up with the Libi, even though it's really the Kvodi, and the Chasidcha is the Kvodi, and then the last part, Basari, is Yud Aleph. The last line in the poem. Todieni Orach Chaim. Now, there are people that say that the Ramah used the pasuk Shiviti Hashem Lenegdi Tamid in his first interpretation in the Shulchan Aruch, which is on the section of Shulchan Aruch called Orech Chaim, okay? Because he believes that Rabbi Yaakov ben Harash, who wrote the Torah, Shulchan Aruch, he set it up. Now, the Mechaber, our Shulchan Aruch, is based on the outline of the Rabbi Yaakov ben Harash, and he, according to the Ramah, he called the first section of it Orech Chaim because of this pasuk. Okay, so Orech Chaim Todieni, inform me, make me knowledgeable, help me to understand the way of life. And of course, the way of life, according to these Rishonim, meant halacha. So Orech Chaim is halacha, is how you from when you wake up in the morning till the end of the year. I mean, it's, when you think about it, there's a book written around 1350 that really organized things so beautifully. It starts with waking up in the morning, goes to the day, and then goes to the week, and then goes to the month, and then goes to the year. Orech Chaim, the pathway of life, how to go through, So Todieni, make me knowledgeable about this. Sova smachot et panecha. Now, so that there will be, now Sova means, Sova, like Yachalta v'savata v'rachta. Svia means that I am satiated. Okay? Sufficiency. However, many people say that this is, it's Sova, but many people say it really should be Sheva. That there, and it's a fine shot to say that there is sufficiency of Simcha, that's wonderful, with Panecha, with seeing your face. But a lot of people say it's seven. We'll come back to it in a second. But look at the flow. Make me know the path of life. If I know the route, where is it going to lead me? Panecha. It's going to lead me to your presence. It's a path. The Torah, halacha. It's how you go. It's the path, the route, the walking. It's the going through life. But it leads you to tremendous amount of joy because it leads you to the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know we could say the face, and for Kabbalists we talk about the face of Hashem, okay? But I think it really means brings you to the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ni'imot b'mincha netzach, and ni'imot. Now, ni'imot means pleasant. So, but a lot of people say it also is related to musical notes, and I'll explain why in a minute. But all of the pleasantness. This is something, especially when I was teaching. Not so much when I was teaching, in yeshiva and teaching people in their late teens, early 20s. They were into this. But when you're trying to teach, middle school kids, it's hard for them to really agree or fathom the fact that the halachic system is na'im. It's really very pleasant. They didn't look at it that way. They looked at it as restrictive. They looked at it as problematic. But the fact of the matter is that when you really get into, if I can use the Yiddish word, when you really get into the schwung, when you really get into the system, when you get into the momentum, that's probably the best translation for schwung. Yeah, momentum. When you get into the swing of things, the momentum of things, the word schwung is related to the English word swing. But I think momentum is the best. When you get moving in that path, it's very pleasant. It's very nice. You're looking forward to these occasions and these observances. It's like you're looking forward to Tu B'Shvat. On Shabbos, at dessert. somebody had persimmons, a farsimon, and I said, I said, wow, Shechianu, and then he says, I should have saved it for Tu B'Shvat. In other words, it's like you're always waiting. There's the next something is always coming. The path is very pleasant. The path is really okay. Bimincha, in your yamin. Yamin is chesed. Yamin is yashar. Netzach is eternal. But we'll come back to the word netzach. Why they use netzach? Because usually that's not the term David HaMelech uses. We'll come back to the minute. I want to go back to the sva smachot. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure exactly. There is this satiety, abundance of joy. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Okay. I can handle the one that says there's 7. You know why I can handle the one that says there's 7? Because when you say there's 7, then you can start to sit down and figure out what they are. Okay. So the easiest thing to do is it's the 7. It's the 7 levels, sfirot, okay, which of course are the 7 character traits. One of which is netzach. We're going to get to that in just a minute, okay? So then I can because it's easier to talk about something that you can number and list, and it's more concrete than just say, there's a lot of it. Well, okay, what's that mean? Yeah, okay. So but that's not the normal approach. The Midrash says here, based on the Gemara as well, that and this goes into ni'imot. Ni'imot, there's a word for nima, means strings and notes on musical instruments. So ni'imot sometimes means the notes that come from. So the Gemara and the Midrash says that in the Beit HaMikdash, when they would sing a song like this, they use a harp, lyre, I don't know, whatever, okay, that had 7 strings. And the 7 strings made the music. In Yemot HaMashiach, or in Olam Haba, there's going to be 8 strings. So this is talking about the 7 joyous strings in this world from following the path, from following the instructions in the poem, that you're going to get the full beauty of the possibilities in this world. And there are 7. And when you finish doing all of the possibilities of this world, then you get to the next level, which is referred to as netzach. Now, what do we mean? What do we mean by netzach? How come David HaMelech didn't use the normal expression, which is ad olam or li olam? Doesn't make a difference. It's basically the same thing. We're not going to get into the grammar. How come he switched? Normally he would have said lo titein chasidcha. Oh, I'm sorry. Right up. Sova smachot et panecha nimot bimincha ad olam. That's what we would have normally expected. Well, how come he switched? Now, some people say it because he's got a meter going. He's not a cab driver. He's got he's got a certain ketzif going, right? So therefore it fit in. He needed 2 syllables and 3 was wrong. Okay, I can handle that, but I don't think it's true. So the Malbim, who again, like I said before, does not believe in biblical synonyms, every word, the difference between Le'olam and Netzach is Le'olam is relative. When we say it's forever, I don't care if you say forever in the in the spatial, ad olam, forever, or in the temporal. It's based upon this physical world. And this physical world is not forever. This physical world had a beginning. This physical world have an end. Yes, it is forever based upon the limits of what we've got. That's not Netzach. Netzach, which can also mean to defeat. Netzach means it is absolutely infinite, not relatively infinite. It is infinite, meaning the entirety of the known universe. No, Netzach, it goes beyond and will be there after this universe has, gone its way, either through ice or through fire. I don't know, ice and fire. You can go back to Carl Sandburg and think about that. I don't know. But what happens is Netzach means it is objectively eternal and infinite, which is why Moshe Rabbeinu is Netzach. No one of the other seven, Ushpizim, however you want to call this, 7 giants of our history, none of them could be Netzach, because only Moshe Rabbeinu was really dealing in Netzach. How was Moshe Rabbeinu dealing in Netzach? Torah. That's this week's parsha. Because Torah existed before Olam Hazeh, will exist after Olam Hazeh. It was the blueprint that HaKadosh Baruch Hu used for making Olam Hazeh. So that's Netzach, and that's what's going on here. In other words, we have Sovas Machot et Panecha. There's all this amazing joy that we get from following the path which leads to your presence, and that there is infinite pleasure in your mean, in your right, yashar, in your correct way of doing things, your chesed way of doing things. Netzach, absolutely, infinitely, as opposed to la'olam or ad olam, which is relatively infinite. And I got to be honest, it's not an idea I would have thought of on my own. The idea that ad olam and le'olam which is infinite, but it's only a relative version of infinity because it's only for Olam Hazeh. Netzach is for Olam Haba as well. It's just an amazing poem, and it's hard to hold all of it, but everyone should do their best to hold fast to Pasuk Chet, which is about fast. And Shiviti Hashem L'negdi Tamid Ki Mimini Balemot. It's only by holding fast to a HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we can gain the stability that this life deserves and needs. Okay, next week we'll do Vav. We'll do Tachna. Okay, Shavua Tov to everyone. Everyone should have a happy Rosh Hashanah Le'ilanot and enjoy the rain and maybe even the snow.
And can I make a quick announcement? I don't know how many of you know to get these points out, but if you knew her, she's next Thursday.